nestle up right next to Johns Hopkins and start Big Ten play 2-0. Jules, we know it's just the 5-game schedule. We know how dominant this conference is. And so this is a very important one. Ohio State, take a peek what happened last season. They doubled up the Nittany Lions. That was a forgettable 3-11 campaign for Penn State. Ohio State, meanwhile, went to the NCAA tournament, and they'd like to get back there again this season. Matt Fritz in the faceoff circle for Ohio State. And it's Hudson Baugh, the redshirt sophomore, who began the year as the starter as the faceoff man for Penn State. Expect a little Chase Mullins there as well. And some action right off the immediate faceoff. Who wants it? Penn State had it momentarily, and Skylar Walland collects. Ohio State 5-4 on the year. They have played arguably one of the toughest schedules, maybe the toughest in the nation. Coming off the win against a ranked Rutgers team, they are in the midst of 5 straight games against ranked foes. Welcome to the Big Ten.
Yeah, we thought we'd get a look there at Ohio State's offense, but a very quick turnover. And Penn State's going to get settled in here, Kevin. They're very balanced on offense. They have 6 guys with at least 10 goals. Malone, we mentioned him in the start. He's the guy that kind of stirs a drink. The key for them, though, patience. Coming off that Maryland loss, coach felt like they were kind of rushing things a little bit. They're trying to figure out how they can play within that 50 to 20-second mark consistently. Good opportunity there, but landed in the crease.
Boy, that was Matt Traynor who was right there. Was a good look, and you're right, that wipes away the goal. And so that allows Ohio State to come back the other way. Take a peek.
Traynor looked like he just stepped in the crease with his right foot there.
Yep.
Before he actually left his feet.
So it's a balanced attack for Penn State. What do you make of Ohio State and its measured offense we see this year?
Yeah, for Ohio State, I think obviously Jack Myers, but at this point in the season, they got a lot of guys coming back from injury.
Like Kyle Borda. He's available.
And that looked a little bit too easy there. The number 19 in red, Kyle Borda.
14th goal of the season. Yep, but he had one last week. Look at him. He still had it right in front of the cage, right here.
Yeah, just a great job getting to the middle of the field. You see, almost lost it on that back check, but if I'm Penn State's defense, you have to slide there, either off the drift guy or someone's got to come from the crease and put a body on him. That was way too easy.
And so Ohio State takes the 1-0 lead in the early minutes. Some of the wings get involved on a second straight faceoff. So Penn State will keep it. Jules, you said it. Penn State lost last week by a score of 13-10 to previously second-ranked Maryland. It was their second straight loss. They got upended by Marquette a couple of weeks ago. 2 close games, but Penn State is trying to buck the trend and get back in the win column.
Yeah, I think versus Maryland for them, I think they did a great job generally with their game plan. But like I mentioned earlier, I think they just got away from it a little bit. But coach is really high on this group. He thinks up until this point, they've done a really good job of just being compliant, eager to attack, doing the right things, and it's starting to pay off here.
And Penn State ties it up. It's Jack Morin with his 5th goal of the season.
Great job on that back cut by Morin. And good vision there by Malone to see that. His head up, showing his feeding ability. That's just defensively falling asleep right there, but even better job by Morin just recognizing that, cutting underneath, getting in front of the cage.
And on one end, the great instincts, and then meanwhile, that's just another obvious illustration of what TJ Malone does. So make it 16 assists now for the fifth-year senior. Penn State coming back this way, and they start to get organized.
You see Malone getting involved there, a little ground ball action as well, showing his balance.
So each team with a goal just 55 seconds apart in the first few minutes of what is a very important Big Ten battle. And they all usually are. This one maybe more so today. Top 15 clash between these two. And yes, Skylar Walland is the man between the pipes for Ohio State. Second-year starter. He's been okay this year.
Thought Costin had the opportunity to shoot that right there. A little bit of hesitation.
Instead, at X, bouncer skips wide. Will Peden giving chase, and Ohio State collects it. That's Snyder. Oh, wow, the giveaway right in front of the cage. Oh, great heads-up recognition by Walland to bail himself out. He's able to knock the pass away right in front of the cage.
Kevin, you could just feel the energy between both these teams with the ground balls. No opportunity is going unturned right now.
So this is Myers, who he spotlighted. You mentioned his size. You can see it, 6'4", 215 pounds. He wears number 2 in the Crimson. This is Scott White. Looking for a little crease. That shot skips wide. And it's Ohio State attacking Jack Frassia, a sophomore from Annapolis, Maryland, in the cage today, Jules.
Yeah, and he's done a tremendous job all season long. You know, coach is really, really high on him. His consistency. I think before as a freshman, he was kind of coming into games, practices where sometimes he'd play well, sometimes he wouldn't do his best. A little bit of a roller coaster. This year he's kind of stepped up, just been someone coach can really rely on game over game.
Yeah, as a sophomore, has become really reliable. Late shot clock look, and with 5 to shoot, Ohio State backs it up and keeps it. This is not rare at all to see Ohio State use a lot of the clock.
Yeah, I was just going to touch on that, Kevin. Their pace of play, 70th in the country right now, but as Coach Tambroni said, what they do so well on offense is they can hold the ball, sit on it, but they can also strike you fast in transition and in early possession time. So it's really difficult as a defense. You don't know what they're going to do, so they really have to be buttoned up defensively, Penn State, to make sure that this game doesn't get out of hand.
Are they a little more dynamic this year, if that's the right word?
Yeah, I think they've always kind of been like that in years past. Even my time playing Ohio State, you feel like you have a grasp on them, but then all of a sudden things just kind of get out of hand. And you hope that they stick to their game plan, but teams that can go in and out of playing fast and playing slow are just really hard to cover.
Each team with a goal a few minutes into the first quarter. Final Big Ten bout of the weekend. Morin right in front of the net. Excellent defense that time by Ohio State, and they look to clear.
A tremendous job there by Greg Langermeyer. Just that wrap check on Morin to just really hit him agilely, absorb that contact, and force that turnover.
Yeah, that's the third now, Jules, for Penn State. And that Ohio State win last week against Rutgers, just 7 goals allowed. That's it. And a nice bounce-back victory. There's a whip deflected in front of the net. That time, Dylan McGee was looking to go to work. So Penn State with the opportunity on this side. And only Rutgers scores more goals in the Big Ten than Penn State. This is Kevin Winkoff. There's a rip. TJ Malone misses high.
Yeah, Malone, I know he wants that one back. He should have saw on the back side. If he just threw through the defense, you had Winkoff kind of hanging out back there. Or excuse me, Chris Jordan, number 45.
Yeah, that's the other fifth-year senior. In a lot of ways, this is a older, mature, more veteran Penn State team, especially compared to a year ago. Now the alley attack. Wayland denies him.
I love that shot opportunity. I thought that he kind of settled for that in the alley there. A bit of a low angle. And if you are going to do that shot, he sort of pushed it. I'd rather see him really try to hammer it home or perhaps put a twister on Cage to increase his angle.
And so Wallen with a couple of stops early. Here's Ari Allen, number 3 in the red, the sophomore. I expect some more opportunities for Allen moving forward, perhaps, according to the head man, Nick Myers.
Yeah, Allen's been out of the lineup for a little bit, but let's see if he can come on the scene, especially for short sticks behind. He's really comfortable beating his man one-on-one. He's got pretty solid vision. Look to see if he can attack those shorty matchups.
So now it's Myers muscling through, turns back, loses the footing. And a timeout taken by Ohio State. With 5:53 to go and 14 on the shot clock. 1-1 in the first.
To all the Chevy Silverado owners out there, the adventurers and the doers, thank you for making Chevy Silverado the #1 best-selling retail full-size pickup.
It's Chevy truck season. Get 0% financing plus make no monthly payments for 90 days on all Silverado 1500 pickups. Or current Chevy owners can get $4,250 total cash allowance on all 2022 Silverado pickups with a 2.7-liter engine. Find new roads at your local Chevy dealer.
The future is threatened by enemies often unseen and unexpected. In the midst of an uncertain and evolving world, the need for Marines to defeat these shifting threats is critical, because the need to ensure stability for our nation has never been greater. When there are battles to win for America's future, there is one constant: Marines.
Good weather, good showing on a Sunday at Panzer Stadium. Top 15 battle. Ohio State with 1, Penn State with 1 as well. Nick Myers, 15th season now as the Ohio State head coach. Jules, he started there back in 2002 as an assistant. A couple of years, went away to Butler, and then came back as an assistant several years later. And he is hoping Ohio State can reach its second straight NCAA tournament. Meanwhile, his counterpart is someone he's very familiar with, Jeff Tambroni, after all those successful years at Cornell. Now in his 13th season as the Penn State head coach, the 210 career wins that he has, 7th most among active head coaches. So Penn State, or Ohio State, called that timeout. So Myers is looking to score with time running short on the shot clock. Allen, with that no look, misses wide, and so ball back to Penn State.
Yeah, these guys know each other well, both coaches. I think right now in this game, they're just feeling each other out. Let's see if one of these teams can kind of figure out what the code is to kind of crack and then start to kind of pour it on.
And in a matchup like this, with so much familiarity, even drawing on your experiences, you know, what's that like in the early minutes of a very important game like this?
Yeah, I think there's obviously subconsciously, if you're looking at the standings in the Big Ten and kind of what happened with Michigan over Maryland, this game means a lot, whether coach is talking about it or not. If you're a player, like I said, you know that. So they know how important it is. Naturally, these games are going to be really competitive, but for the first couple minutes, they're feeling each other out. I'm looking to see, is one of these teams going to just strike like that?
Oh, great check that time by Greg Langermeyer. And so Penn State keeps giving it away. Opportunity for the Buckeyes. Myers behind X. That time, his pass to Langermeyer was fumbled away. A big check right around midfield a few moments ago on the heels of Penn State's 4th turnover. We've got 9 combined in the first quarter. So we remain deadlocked at 1 with 4 minutes to go.
It's only a matter of time.
Back to X. This is Trainer. Shot and a score. That's his brother. Big bro to little bro, Matt, with the goal.
Kevin, as I mentioned, that feeling out process, it's only a matter of time before one of these teams starts to get going, and we just saw right there the trainer-brother connection. These guys have been doing this for a long time. Great vision. We're going to see a little hung situation by Jack Trainer, number 16 in white at X. You see number 9 there on defense, Marcus Hudgens. He's not sure what to do, and in the midst of that, Matt Trainer, number 22, just cuts open and buries that.
Very responsible older brother sharing the wealth. You think Matt might have gotten his ear and said, hey, I just tied you for points now. 27 for each this season. Ohio State collects this ground ball. No sibling rivalry among the trainers. So each with 27 points. Penn State coming back the other way.
It's another good job in the ride. Ground ball situation there by Trainer.
And so after Penn State's latest goal, a timeout taken by the Nittany Lions with 3:18 to go in the first. Hey, so remember this afternoon, 3:30 Eastern on ABC for the first time, the Women's National Championship game, and it should be a spectacular one. LSU and Angel Reese, Iowa and Caitlin Clark. Coverage begins at 2:30 Eastern. Also, the unforgettable Bird and Taurasi show at 3:30 over on ESPN2 as well. Should be a brilliant matchup that features arguably the 2 biggest stars in the game.
Kevin, you know I'm fired up for that. Caitlin Clark. I've been watching
40-piece the other night.
40-piece. I've been watching more of the women's than I have men. And Caitlin Clark, she put on a tremendous show, another 40-point game the other day. And, you know, we just got to watch her cook. I'm excited. I think that they're going to take it all Iowa.
I mean, that's fun. You have 2 All-Americans that are the centerpieces and the foundations for each of those programs. South Carolina, we wondered if it was going to go unbeaten. It's toppled. And so remember, that's at 3:30. And then on the men's side, you've got UConn and San Diego State for the national title.
That buzzer beater, San Diego State yesterday, he almost stepped out of bounds. It was so close.
That was a heck of a comeback, by the way, for SDSU. So Penn State, after calling that timeout, keeps possession. Waning minutes of the first. Penn State loses it again. That time it was Trainer trying to scoop it to Malone. Whole lot of pressure. This one's jarred away.
Bit of a design play there for Trainer. to try to get that ball when he pops it up from Malone, but just a little bit of a miscommunication, maybe happened too soon. Perhaps defense collapsed, but not the way they wanted to come out of that timeout.
Borda's pass is mishandled, and then the shot ricochets off the cage. That was the freshman Matt Caputo who improvised right in front of the net. And Ohio State's going to use its second timeout in the first quarter with 2:42 to go. Yeah, Jules, you mentioned this previously. Every ground ball matters. You know, the middle of the field, no clear is going to be easy today, but for both of these programs, that's kind of at the foundation for both.
Yeah, and it's the ground ball battle in the middle of the field and on the rides heating up, but then you see the timeouts sort of slowing it down, filling each other out, a bit of a chess match. So it's an interesting balance between the two. But I think you saw there Penn State when they got that goal for trainer to trainer, they're starting to figure out the defense a little bit. Ohio State wants to make sure that Penn State doesn't go on these runs and kind of open it up. So we'll see how Coach Myers responds.
Coach Myers' team has dealt with some, Jules, I think it's fair to say, significant injuries. You know, Drew Blanchard is out for his third straight game. He is arguably the best faceoff man in the Big Ten. And there have been some other attackers that have missed several games, including a guy like Colby Smith. Matt Caputo coming into his own. So, Coach relayed to us, it feels like we're getting healthier. And that chemistry is starting to build a bit more.
Yeah, and for a team that relies so much on holding the ball, losing Blanchard's really tough, so I imagine that's really impacting their approach and their game plan. But then, Coach, like you said, mentioned a lot of young guys are stepping up, guys that have been injured. So they're just trying to figure out the chemistry of this game, and it might just take them a little bit longer than we expect, but they obviously have the pieces, and Coach is really excited about them being battle-tested and the hard schedule that they played up until this time.
Oh, a rip from long range hits the back of the net. Grant Haas with his first goal of the season.
Haas showing the range here. He said, I'm not a defensive midfielder. Let him catch that ball. Steps in. Top left corner. Potentially could have thrown it one more to number 45, Chris Jordan, but he said, I'm going to keep this one for myself. Get my first bucket of the season.
Hey, 4 shots on the year, and that one does the trick. Hey, he's kind of got the to the coaching staff here. He's got Dad, one of the assistants on Jeff Tambroni's staff. That's his father, John. He's one of the assistant coaches. Say, hey, give me a couple of more looks. So Penn State with a pair of goals in less than 2 minutes.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I like Penn State's balance, and I think you're seeing it already, but like we mentioned, Ohio State, it's just a matter of time, right? They just got to get comfortable with each other, new guys in the lineup. I think once that happens, this game's going to start to really turn up.
This is Pelkey. They work it around the box. In front, Belzer is good. Great look, Ohio State back within 1.
Talk about chemistry. That takes a lot of trust to throw that in to number 31 and Brad Caputo, a freshman. Watch, he steps in right there. Scott White just sees Caputo flashing. Penn State sleeping on defense, but it's a tight window right there. And again, Scott White, he hasn't been in the lineup a ton. Caputo's a freshman, but those are the plays that in-game are going to come to life, and he trusts his freshman, and he makes a play.
Almost like a backdoor cut behind the defender that you referenced. And so, yes, Caputo now with 8 goals. He has earned more playing time from Nick Myers and the staff as the year has played out. He's gotten more comfortable.
Yeah, and that's what you need out of freshmen, especially when you come into Big Ten play. You're looking to see who on the roster is going to bolster your older veteran presence. You always see it in the NCAA tournament. I remember vividly Nakai, when he was younger, coming onto the scene, Montgomery on Duke, just exploding for 5 goals. Those are the kind of the players that you need to step up if you want to really make a run. And that's what Ohio State's going to need down the stretch in Big Ten play.
We are just getting started. Just the second Big Ten game for both squads. It's the 5-game schedule, always a war. And it feels like this game today expected to be a tight one. A 1-goal differential in the first quarter, 20 seconds to go. So that shot clock is off for Penn State.
They're going back to the big little game. Ooh, dropped his stick there. Costin did.
Trainer scores. Right before the end of the quarter.
So they're going back to the big little game, something that coach felt like they relied a little bit too much on versus Maryland. But I feel like they have a lot of guys that played attack in high school, so they're comfortable back there. But you see Trainer just doing a really good job getting above the cage, not exactly at the island of that 5-and-5, but enough of an angle that he could give contact to Hudgens, a little bit of that rocker step, and then get going back topside and buried over his shoulder.
Well, real quick before the end of the quarter, what have you made of how Penn State's operated offensively?
Yeah, I think it's just a balance, right? I think that they have a lot of guys contributing, which we've seen all season long, but they're playing patient, which coach wanted them to. He didn't want them to rush it, but he also didn't want them to wait till the end of the quarter. And their guys are stepping up.
And so the Nittany Lions have a 2-goal advantage over Ohio State. 1 quarter in the books. Both of the trainers have gotten involved. PSU looking for its first Big Ten win. 2-goal lead after 1, just getting started.
Looking good.
Feeling good. I just found all these cars on Auto Trader.
Wow.
I wait for the best part there, Microwave. A dealer is going to deliver this car to our home.
Never leave home. Never leave home.
Oh, it's here. There is one thing I can't do from home. Drive.
Someone stop him.
Get the letter, refrigerator. Roll out.
And we're done.
Huh. What about these?
Looks right.
Quick, the quicker picker-upper. When you gotta get it done, 1 sheet is all you need. And Bounty is 2 times more absorbent, so you can use less and get the job done with 1. This works.
Kinda.
Bounty, the quicker picker-upper.
All right, so in the words of my man Jules Henningberg, Michigan with what, biggest win maybe in Big Ten history over Maryland, a 16-11 victory, and won convincingly. That was something yesterday.
Yeah, that win, I watched it. You kind of holding your breath versus a team like Maryland, where you know a 4 or 5 goal lead, especially in the second, even the early third quarter is not safe. And then they pulled it out. Credit to Michigan, credit to Coach Connery over there, and my former captain and teammate Scott Beat have done a tremendous job just building that program up and really putting them on the map.
Well, and Chris Cotter and Paul Carcaterra, our friends, were talking about it all afternoon. It's one thing to say, oh, Ohio State, by the way, back in the scoring mix. Okay. Hello to Dylan McGee.
Kevin mentioned the freshman for Ohio State. This is a big boy goal out of Dylan McGee, a freshman. He's been stepping up as late well. Look at that jab to swim on the run with his left hand. No slide. Right, as a freshman going against a short stick, obviously Penn State, they trust their matchup. They don't want to slide. They say, you're a freshman, let's see if you can do this. He hammers it home, low and away. Great take by Dylan McGee.
Yeah, and now 10 goals. The shot percentage has been pretty impressive. And Nick Myers said it to us the other day. He's coming off his best game of the year, no doubt. Transition look, a bounce shot. That was low. Aldridge had it deflected away. A nice save that time by Wallen.
Kevin, I think everyone's settled in now, and Big Ten's play is really gonna start to commence here.
Look alive. Well, and speaking of that, just to finish up my point, our colleagues on the game yesterday, that Michigan win, you know, it's something you could just continue building your program around to say, look at what we did. We got the job done, as opposed to, hey, we were close. We were right there. Next time. And next time was yesterday.
And it really just bolsters the entire conference, because in years past, people have looked at Michigan as maybe that team that's on the bottom, not sure they can compete as well as the other Big Ten teams, but that's out the window now.
Saw the flag go flying. There's a shot and another goal. Penn State leads by 2 again after Matt Costin's rip.
Costin, again, the big little behind the goal. Great pick by Chris Jordan, setting up Costin to free his hands. Jordan doing the dirty work, and then Costin just having to get up the hash and score it with his right hand. Great job.
11th goal of the season for the senior from Haverford, Pennsylvania. Whole bunch of those Haverford and Malvern studs on this Penn State roster.
You know, so many of those guys from Malvern, Haverford, a lot of comfortability. These guys played each other in high school. They played each other on the recruiting circuit, and now they're together on this team. Kind of some built-in chemistry there.
We've got 8 goals by 8 different players. I think this face-off battle is going to be an adventure at times today. Penn State gathers.
Coach mentioned how hard they struggled in the middle of the field last week, Penn State versus Maryland. So it's good to see that they're kind of balancing that up a little bit. Blanchard obviously out for Ohio State, so look to see that to kind of be a neutral point between these two teams. And wow.
From deep, it's Winkoff. Oh, yeah.
I could just tell this game is going to get more fun, more fun as it goes on. Winkoff, number 48 in white, the Binghamton transfer. Malone just showing his vision again. And Winkoff just sets up in that slot in an area that Malone can throw it to him, and just hammer time, top right corner.
I mean, it's Malone and Trainer, Big Bro Jack, that is, that they are the cornerstones. They've got they're the two pilots, in a sense, flying the plane in the cockpit for this offense. Ohio State on the move this way.
Kevin doesn't get enough credit nationally. I think he's really balanced with his vision, his ability to get up the hash with both hands, and just his lacrosse IQ. I know perhaps his stats aren't jumping off the page as much, but I think he's as good as any other player I've seen so far this year. Just playing at that quarterback position. Obviously, there's a couple of guys that stand out with Brennan O'Neill, Schellenberger, but other than that, he's as good as anyone else.
The very resilient star. We'll touch on his perseverance through surgeries the last several years to even be playing this season in a bit. Ohio State, though, looking to answer after back-to-back Nittany Lions goals. Close range. That one does trickle through. And there's a Jack Myers goal. Sprawling in front of the cage. He watches as it rolls over and in.
The Jack Myers, senior for Ohio State. Big-time goal. They needed that. He said, look, I'm a senior. I got to step up here. Things might get out of hand if I don't bury one for us. Just a good job. Again, the pick play behind the cage. Myers gets his hands through off that screen, just comes around, little fake high bounced low. And Frazion, he almost had that. It kind of trickled in underneath.
He did. He had a split second late trying to smother it before it bounced by. Yeah, Myers so impressive. Two-time All Big Ten first team selection. 222 points in 54 career games.
Another guy that maybe doesn't get the national recognition like some of those guys I mentioned, like a Kavanaugh, right? The Penn State guys, maybe a little bit more low-key, but they're effective guys that are well-balanced and really get the job done.
I mean, he's approaching Jules Henningberg numbers now. He had the extra year, though. Another one for Ohio State. And so back-to-back for the Buckeyes. And they're right back in it. Nice look that time by Mitchell Pelkey. 6th goal of the year for the senior from Leesburg.
25, Mitchell Pelkey, the king of the vlog. Just showing off his shake there. Little right-to-right move, bouncy. See that pump fake? Also back towards X, freezes that potential slide. And then tremendous job finishing up the hash, which we've seen a ton of today. Both teams doing a great job just getting up the hash and converting on their shots.
He's the king of the vlog?
Yeah, you don't follow him on social media? You got to tap in.
I need to.
Yeah, Pelkey does a great job using that NIL, just branding, building his presence on social media. He's a player that has definitely stepped up in the lacrosse space doing that, and I know a lot of people are following his lead.
I got to check out his TikTok that as well.
Hey, I think he's at almost 100,000 followers on TikTok.
He's got the game to go with it. Penn State, a little loose with it, though they regather. Still a lot of time on the shot clock. That one was stripped away. Jordan had it knocked away from behind. It's still loose. Who's got it? Ohio State.
Barron. 44 with the back check there and the ground ball.
He's been sensational this year, hasn't he?
He really has. Him and Hudgens, arguably one of the best core guys on defense. I don't know if you can find two better.
Penn State player that's down. That's Jack Posey.
Didn't quite see what happened to Posey. Hopefully he's okay.
Posey, the senior from South Riding, Virginia, collecting himself. He's one of the starting defensemen for Penn State. And then meanwhile, you got Chris Jordan just getting that left wrist, it appears, looked at on the Penn State sideline. So here's what happened to Posey. Oh, yep, you don't ever want to see it.
I've seen that too many times.
Well,
Great to see him walking off.
Yeah,
himself.
Tough dude, to say the least.
Cup or no cup, Kevin, that's still going to hurt.
Yeah. I think so. Posey, one of the starting defensemen. So here you go, Ohio State. With the new shot clock. Just about 5 minutes into the second. Buckeyes have scored back-to-back on the heels of 2 straight from Penn State.
You notice a little two-man game action behind the goal. Myers trying to get switched up on that short stick. Doesn't get that opportunity, but...
And Ohio State's going to keep it.
Nothing better than being sort of the #1 option on your offense and getting that switch, because what happens is you get that short stick, you end up drawing so much attention if you're Myers after you start to attack the cage, because the defense is so nervous about you beating that short stick.
Ed Sheehan had nothing there. Gives it back to Kyle Borda. At top midfield line for Ohio State, it's Sheehan, Borda, and then Dylan McGee, number 43, who scored one. Myers, the bouncer. Ohio State. Oh, it's Penn State was able to get there first. I don't know if Sheehan had quite located where the ball was bouncing.
And I don't love that take, Kevin, by Myers. I felt like he settled for that a little bit, especially after they just earned the ball back. I thought, if anything, he could have used his size, got into his defender a little bit, and if he didn't like it, bounced away, get the ball hot again, since they had all that time in the shot clock.
Matt Trainer. And now it's Malone. Trainer to Trainer.
No slide for Trainer. Needs to attack that more aggressively, perhaps turn the corner with his left hand.
He's shadowed by Camille. Bounces it to his spot. Malone scoops it. 13 to shoot for the Nittany Lions. Trainer finds the back of the net. He got it back, and this time took advantage of the opportunity.
And it took him a little longer than coach would have liked. They just scored that at the 8-second mark of the shot clock. You know, we talked to coach, he likes it in that 50 to 20. Maybe Trainer should have had that with his left hand, but it got back to him eventually. He does a good job right there, physically engaging the defender, number 8, Samuel, and then bouncing away from the contact to sort of set up that space to get to that jump shot. Great job by Trainer.
And so he is our first multi-goal scorer of the afternoon. That's the second for the sophomore. That one bounces free. And Penn State takes possession. We are even on the face-off. 7 for the Buckeyes, 7 for the Nittany Lions. Penn State led 4-2 after the first, and they're back ahead by 2 here in the second. Ball going back to Ohio State, though.
Moving screen by Malone. I know coach is kicking himself over that. A big screen between Malone and his counterpart, Trainer, and it leads to a turnover. That's tough.
Back behind the cage, Myers. Planning the attack. Fracion starting to harass him. Myers, yeah, right in his cross there for a long time. That one was deflected down in front of the cage. And Kevin Parnham scoops it up for Penn State.
That's another one out of Myers there, Kevin. A little bit of a force. I would have maybe liked him see him go back to Ari Allen on that short stick matchup. Ari Allen did a great job getting topside to his left hand, rolling back and throwing it to Myers at X, where maybe he gets a rushed approach where the defender's trying to recover, but instead there he likes to play the cat and mouse game, and it leads to another turnover.
That's back-to-back possessions where he has been stoned there on the doorstep.
And Kevin, it might not come up as a turnover technically, but when you watch that back on film, that is a turnover.
Can Penn State capitalize off of it? Already ahead by 2. And looking to snap its 2-game skid. Oh, there's a high pass. And a mistake. Gives the ball back to Ohio State. That's the 8th turnover for PSU. Remember, Penn State, they got off to the 5-1 start by defeating 3 straight ranked Ivy League opponents in consecutive weeks. You see the flag on the far side of the field right in front of the Ohio State bench. And there goes Mark Sickler.
Fouls on white, 3-2, trip, 1 minute. White, 3-2, trip, 1 minute.
Kevin,
Reset 80,
call.
guys, reset 80.
Let's watch it. Maybe at the end there, but it's Big Ten lacrosse. You gotta let the boys play.
Hey, you don't like it?
No, just great ride, put pressure on him. He trips sometimes. Just cleats him a tiny bit, but sometimes you gotta let some of those go.
Yeah, and that's Sickler, the junior. Ohio State scores immediately. A quick strike on the man up. Another one for Matt Caputo. 1-goal game in the second.
And that's what the Big Ten's all about right there. Striking when your opponent makes a mistake. Great take there by number 31, Matt Caputo. And Penn State's up 1, 7-6.
So expensive, Dad. Now Katie needs braces.
Maybe try switching your car insurance to Progressive. You can save hundreds.
I don't know, Dad.
Maybe try switching your car insurance to Progressive. You could save hundreds.
It's a great idea, TV Dad.
But I said the exact same thing.
Someday when you're a father, you'll understand.
I'm his father.
It's not a competition.
Listen to your TV Dad. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save nearly $700 on average.
There's growing excitement around the Mega Millions jackpot. Get yours today at your favorite retailer or online at PALottery.com. So come on, just remember to please play responsibly. The jackpot is over $300 million. Mega Millions.
Let's eat, yo-yo. Let's eat, yo-yo. Let's see if you can keep up with the beat, yo-yo. Take a seat, yo-yo. Time to feast, yo-yo. Then let's see what you can really do for me, yo-yo. Crab legs, dog eggs, bon appetit, yo-yo.
Jack Trainer, 2 goals, 1 assist so far. There is his vision on display. In transition as well, Haas with the top corner, but then showing his one-on-one, again, settling down into that defensive pressure. A little bit of a rocker step, bouncing away. Trainer's been their guy thus far. Look for him to keep that up. And the unselfishness of Penn State with 7 assists.
Yeah, on all 7 goals. Ohio State with the latest on the man up, and it's now a 1-goal game. Trainer, just another example of a player who's battled his way back. Remember, he missed 8 games last year during that 3-win season. So Trainer, Malone, a healthy duo of quality attackers this season for Penn State is a gigantic reason why they're number 11 in the country, 5-3 on the year. It hasn't lost here at home. And that includes a win against previously 10th ranked Penn.
Kevin, I know the Penn State offense, Trainer's been stepping up today, but overall they're so balanced. And any guy can kind of step up on any given day, which I think makes it really hard for this Ohio State to key in on because they play such good team ball. We'll see if they can kind of keep that up as things go on, but it's been very hard for Ohio State's defense to figure that out.
Costin works it back behind the net. There's a spin, close range look, deflection, but a score. Matt Trainer would not be denied that time.
I was waiting for it, and I wasn't sure if he was going to get it off. This is an unbelievable take. Trainer just gets topside on Island, handles the pressure there, runs his angle out, but then goes over his shoulder, that behind the back. Could have probably shot it there, but didn't. Recognize where he was and finishes that behind the back. Unbelievable take and ability to handle pressure on the inside by number 22 in white, Matt Trainer.
Dealing with the Jacob Snyder's stick, and he still goes behind the back with the saucy finish. And so it's Ohio State by 2. Already a hat trick for Trainer. 6'2", 190 pounds. The sophomore has been brimming with confidence of late. So at the end of that sequence, we saw the stick to the head. So it's a player up situation for Penn State. And after having won the 4 prior face-offs, Ohio State now gathers this one.
And they're going to have to run out this clock. Let's see if Penn State goes to double Myers here, or if they just let him kind of run back and forth behind the goal.
Yeah, they haven't scored a man-down goal this season.
Sometimes, Kevin, what ends up happening is if you go for that double team and it doesn't work, the defense is all out of sorts. Everyone's not sure who's going to slide, and then Myers could dump an easy one. So sometimes better to just let them run the clock out.
Three minutes to go in the first half. Penn State has led for the majority of this first half, and by a goal or two for much of it. Now it's Myers, absorbs the check. Penn State has it back.
It's their possession. Less than 30 seconds in the unreleasable penalty.
So less than 30 seconds remaining in that unreleasable penalty. Penn State works it across. And Jeff Tambroni uses his final timeout with a man up and a wise one here.
Agreed, Kevin. I love that timeout. If they can come out of that, convert, go up 9-6, potentially play make it, take it, maybe run that clock down, they're going to be in a really good spot heading into halftime, Penn State is.
We've mentioned that balanced offense. And outside of Matt Trainer, who has scored 3 goals, 5 other Nittany Lions have found the back of the net and have beaten Skylar Walland. Hey, remember, Michigan-Rutgers. Friday, that's where you will be, yeah?
I sure will. At Rutgers. So I'll be live in the booth. Big matchup. In years past, we talked about it. Maybe Rutgers is going into that game. I remember when I played there, not that we ever went into the game thinking we were just going to beat Michigan, but part of, your mindset at times was this could be your easiest game of the entire Big Ten stretch, and you have to get it, because if you don't get that one, you're in trouble. And I think now more than ever, Rutgers 0-2 going into that matchup. Probably one of the biggest games of Rutgers is not Big Ten history, but in the last 3 years.
I mean, they're the desperate team right now.
Yeah. And you take a look at that RPI, Kevin, I think if Rutgers dropped that game to Michigan, Michigan's going to bump up, and that Big Ten race gets even harder.
It's amazing. 2 weeks in, and all the scenarios you start to suss out. Meanwhile, final minutes here in the half. Penn State with a player up. Few seconds remaining. And a strike to put the home team back ahead by 3. They have hit a few from long range we have seen today. And the latest from Kevin Winkoff. Just a bullet. And it's his 4th multi-goal game, Jules.
Absolute blast. So again, you see Malone. He's the kind of the quarterback there on offense, pulling the pressure down, going into the gap a little bit. You see number 52 and red, he hedges away, and that gives Winkoff that time he needs to set up his feet and just absolutely blast that top corner, demonstrating his range yet again.
It's a good point you bring up. So without that Malone move, Winkoff might not even have the open space that he had.
And what happens is on man up, you either want to drag or you want to step into those gaps. And you saw Malone there kind of go forward towards his left hand, step into that gap, and then that defender up top left. And Winkoff had his hands free.
Penn State is looking to stretch its lead further before half. We saw Penn State calling for the flag, and yeah, there it is.
The make it take it too. Now, not only is it make it take it, but they have another flag down.
Less than 90 seconds left in the first. Opportunity at X. Costin rips, deflected. Costin nearby, fighting for it. Ohio State gathers, and with 61 seconds left in the half. Now we wait the call.
Reset to 60. Reset to 60. 2 minute, man down. All right, take a knee. Let's go. Get him water for Greg. Take a knee.
Kevin, that's probably the first mental mistake, maybe the second one I've seen out of the Penn State offense. They had the flag down. They could have ran more of that clock out and not settled for that up the hash shot. And then they would have gotten the ball back anyways. Not to say that they don't have a great opportunity right now, but potentially could have maybe tired that defense out a little bit more.
Malone back up top. Winkoff fumbled it momentarily. In front, a rip and a score. Another for the Nittany Lions. The lead has grown to its largest of the afternoon. It's a 4-goal advantage.
They're playing with a lot of confidence. A lot of confidence right now. Take a look at that big round ball by Winkoff.
Little no-look action.
Yeah, big round ball by Winkoff, just banged it down there to Long. Was able to get topside and finish that ball.
Ethan Long, a sophomore from Phoenix, Maryland. And so 1 week after Skylar Wallen allowed just 7 goals, Penn State's got 10 in this first half. A scramble in front. We got an open net deflected away. Jacob Snyder was there to protect the empty net, but Penn State has 20 seconds to work with.
This is real dangerous territory for Ohio State. If Penn State puts this away, this is an entirely different game.
Open look. Walland blocks it away, but then the flag with 10 seconds to go. It's a very important save from Walland. But Penn State in another favorable position.
Now it's going to be a red 4-4, cross check to the head, 1 minute, full time. We're going to reset to 60.
Bobby Van Buren.
Van Buren just, ooh. I felt that up here. Just Van Buren just absolutely crushing Trainer. But, you know, sometimes you got to do that. You got to sacrifice to make sure that goal doesn't go in, because if that went in, like I mentioned, this is a much different game.
Penn State lets the clock drain. They scored 3 man-up goals in this first half, hold a lead for all but the opening minutes, and take their largest advantage, Jules, into the locker room, leading Ohio State by 4 at home.
Balance and confidence, Kevin, is what I'm seeing out of Penn State. And Ohio State, I just think they're a little bit out of sorts, kind of rushing things, not so sure of themselves at times, and it's tough for them so far.
A great first half for Penn State. They needed it on the heels of back-to-back losses. In good position, 30 minutes to go in State College.
And Doug.
Hey man, nice pace. Clearly you're a safe driver. You could save hundreds for safe driving with Liberty Mutual.
They customize your car insurance, so you only pay for what you need. Woo! We gotta go again.
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
To all the Chevy Silverado owners out there, the adventurers, and the doers, thank you for making Chevy Silverado the #1 best-selling retail full-size pickup.
It's Chevy truck season. Get 0% financing plus make no monthly payments for 90 days on all Silverado 1500 pickups. Or current Chevy owners can get $4,250 total cash allowance on all 2022 Silverado pickups with a 2.7-liter engine. Find new roads at your local Chevy dealer.
What if you were a major transit system facing cyber attacks? So you partner with IBM to keep your data, network, and apps protected. Now you can tackle threats without coming to a halt. Let's create cybersecurity that keeps your business on track. IBM, let's create.
So gentle.
Spicy chicken fries with heat. Appetizer, mini meal, a spicy treat. Eat them anytime cause you're royalty. The box fits a sauce that's pretty neat. BK, have it your way.
I've been making pizza for years. Now I make them playable. They pick the toppings, I pick my lucky numbers. Everybody wins, right?
There's a lot of love for the Pennsylvania Lottery, and when you see how fun it is, you'll understand why.
So Penn State scores 6 in the second quarter and has a 4-goal advantage over Ohio State. Top 15 battle in University Park, an important one for the Nittany Lions, who have dropped back-to-back, including their Big Ten opener a week ago. The man with the hat trick, Matt Trainer, and then 5 other goal scorers for Penn State. Final game of the Big Ten weekend yesterday. Michael Bohm was excellent in this sensational upset over Maryland for the Wolverines.
Yeah, Bohm, just right place, right time, and a lot of his opportunities, stepping up big time versus Maryland. And then Jacob Jackson, too. I loved what Jacob Jackson brought to the table yesterday, just showing his size and his range consistently as a lefty goal scorer. And Michigan, you're watching that game, you're holding your breath, and then it gets to the fourth quarter, last 5 minutes, and they did it. And then
Jules in a
Rutgers,
top 10 battle, yeah.
It was tough. I thought that, honestly, I kind of mentioned in the open, Hopkins 9-3 right now, sitting at #1 in the Big Ten. No one would have expected that. I think Rutgers right now isn't playing with a ton of confidence. I don't think that their schedule positioned them that well to go into the Big Ten and what it is right now, but the beauty of the Big Ten is it's any given day, and they have another tremendous opportunity versus Michigan this week.
Yeah, they start with back-to-back on the road at Ohio State, at Johns Hopkins, and 2 very difficult losses. Now they welcome that feisty Michigan team to Piscataway this week. So this is how the Big Ten standings look as of today. Will Ohio State claw its way back and maybe join Hopkins atop the conference? Penn State in desperate search of its first conference win with the 4-goal lead today after 30 minutes.
And Kevin, it's
second half action.
I would say it's looking a lot more like the ACC at this point, where a lot of those teams, you don't know who's going to win on any given day.
The gauntlet, it continues. Halftime here at Penn State.
Interesting piece. Let me bring in my expert.
So many scratches.
Those are from my car keys.
Such a rich history. This won't do well at auction, but at AT&T, it's worth a brand new Samsung Galaxy S23.
Wait, really? What about this?
AT&T's deal is back. Everyone gets a free new Samsung Galaxy S23 with the Galaxy phone trade-in. Any year, any condition.
Hey, Fridge, did you know Auto Trader lets me shop for cars by monthly payment so I know what I'll pay before I buy?
Cool.
Was that a refrigerator joke?
Keenan, chill.
All right, just stick to making ice. I didn't mean right now.
Spicy chicken fries with heat. Appetizer, mini meal, a spicy treat. Eat them anytime cause you're royalty. The box fits a sauce that's pretty neat. BK, have it your way.
Make a move in the most electrifying Honda vehicles yet. Buy online, reserve from select dealers, or visit your local Honda dealer today.
With your feet on the air and your head on the ground. Try this trick and spin it, yeah. Next up.
Thank you.
Enjoy. Where's my mind? Where's my mind?
Just across the way from Beaver Stadium, the second half is coming up inside Panzer Stadium. Top 15 battle between Ohio State and Penn State. Second half starts after this.
Welcome home, Commander.
The most advanced vehicles are the ones that prepare you for everything. Kia, movement that inspires.
Love is bigger than ever. The 3-row Subaru Ascent. Dog tested, dog approved. Love, it's what makes Subaru, Subaru.
What's he doing?
He's cleaning the trash cans.
Oh boy. Meeting a new young homeowner for the first time is a unique challenge.
So you think you can help?
I can try. Hey, what you doing?
Just cleaning my trash cans.
Wow. It's important to build trust. See, you put your address and phone number on here.
Well, you can never be too safe.
With trash?
Progressive can't protect you from becoming your parents, but we can protect your home and auto when you bundle with us.
Don't look at the hedges, they're a mess.
No one's looking at the hedges.
Welcome back to Panzer Stadium. You are watching the Big Ten on ESPN. Number 14, Ohio State. Number 11, Penn State. And it's the Nittany Lions that were 2 better than Ohio State in each quarter. So they have a commanding 4-goal lead in a very important conference clash. Penn State is trying to bounce back after the loss last week to Maryland. He is Jules Henningberg, the former All-American Kevin Fitzgerald with you. So we have seen a balanced attack, as you have referenced many times, but Matt Traynor, boy, he stepped up in a big way in that first half.
Yeah, he sure did. And last week versus Maryland, they didn't think that they had that tough of a time on offense. I think that they struggled in the middle of the field, but you see their offense is on display in full tilt here, and Trainor's really leading the charge. Great job showing his ability to feed the ball, and then also great job bouncing away, getting underneath here, handling the pressure, and then scoring that behind the back. That was the goal of the day so far. And then Winkoff as well, just showcasing his range here. And I think that Penn State's done a really good job of showing that they can finish around the goal, but also stretch you out on defense. And again, that's that balance that makes them so deadly, is guys can do both. They can stretch it and they can finish around the cage, and everyone's getting involved.
That was a long distance launch on that prior sequence. You saw, yes, several Nittany Lions have taken 2 to 3 shots in this game. Penn State has the advantage in essentially all of those categories. Ohio State's given it away 11 times. So from the Buckeyes' perspective, what needs to be tightened up?
I think in terms of what the Buckeyes are doing defensively, they're going to have to just slide and communicate better. I think they're struggling in the man down, obviously putting themselves in bad situations. But when they are even situation, they have to slide, right? They're letting these matchups on Penn State go one-on-one versus short sticks and aren't getting bodies on guys. And then offensively, I think they just have to be more patient overall.
So we start this second half. Penn State still a man up. On this side, attacking Skylar Walland. Penn State working it around the box. Patient. Oh, beautiful pass right in front. Ethan Long hit the side, hit the pipe.
Winkoff just wheeling and dealing underhand, 2 passes in a row. It's that confidence that this Penn State offense has that's really separating them in this game.
Yeah, and Winkoff has a pair of assists to go with those 2 goals today. Looking for the best look. Long in front of the cage again. Who wants it? Ohio State had it momentarily, and yep, it's Cullen Brown who comes away with it.
Like I mentioned, Penn State has a lot of confidence, but look out for Ohio State. They go into the locker room. Coach Myers is definitely keying in on how they're not playing tough enough on defense and not patient enough on offense. Look for this level-headed team to come back and settle this game in, put a couple away that are single plays, right? No home runs, hit the singles, and be mentally tough.
Ohio State won this battle last year. They doubled up the Nittany Lions, won 18-9. And that was a year in which the Buckeyes went to the NCAA tournament. They'd love to make it back-to-back. First things first, they got to erase a 4-goal deficit. That's the 12th turnover by the Buckeyes. So the Buckeyes have now gone scoreless in the first couple minutes of this third. They actually ended the first half
Kevin, did you see that
without
check
a goal in the final 5
by Van Buren? That body check on Traynor. Oh, excuse me.
That's a couple of times we've seen that, and we have seen this. several times throughout this year. TJ Malone with another. All 9 games he's played in, he has scored a goal. His first today.
Little pick action, frees Malone's hands there, puts Bobby in a really tough spot because he hedges towards the pick and then has to jump over the net. And at that point, that gave Malone the step that he needed to get topside. And he's so good at finishing around the cage with both hands, and all he needs is a sliver of space, and that ball's going to the back of the net.
Yeah, good call, partner. That's all he needed. And so is that not a perfect illustration? Nice face-off win again by, this time, Chase Mullins.
Oh, boy.
Penn State on the move, the bounce. Ryan O'Connor was looking for one there, but would have been his second goal of the year.
I'm not sure O'Connor was too sure of himself there. Sort of just bounced it into the ground. I was looking for hammer time, top corner.
Is that not just another good illustration of Penn State's balanced attack? So here's TJ Malone. He's your leading goal scorer. His first today comes in the third quarter.
Well, you can just tell that this offense, coached by John Haas, that they're just trying to be unselfish, hit the singles, and that's a term that the Maryland guys use all the time. But you see it here in terms of how John Haas, a former Maryland Terrapin, runs his offense. It doesn't matter who scores the goal, who gets the assist. But then over time, you know, a guy like TJ Malone, who's being covered by Bobby Van Buren, is going to get his too.
And so Jules, 11 goals, all 11 assisted.
And that's a tremendous stat. And again, showcases the unselfishness of this group. A lot of guys can do a lot of things out here. I'm really high on this Penn State offense.
Trainer misses wide as he hits the ground. 10 seconds remaining on the shot clock. .23 shots for Penn State today. They're certainly starting to overwhelm Ohio State. You know, and let's not forget about that huge win a couple of weeks ago at third-ranked Cornell. They held the Big Red to just 6 goals. Jeff Tambroni handing his old team a loss on the road. This team has a couple of really strong road wins, so they've dropped back-to-back. However, as what did Jeff Tambroni say? Let's just rebuild momentum like we had in February and early March.
Yeah, and however the Big Ten really shakes out, when you start looking at the RPI, a key win like Cornell is really going to bolster Penn State's resume. And those are the ones you get early in the season that you think you're not sure how much they matter, but that's going to be a critical potential top 5 win for Penn State down the stretch.
You've been in the lab recently. You've got the calculator out. You are crunching scenarios and the short 5-game conference slate. There's so many possibilities and potential outcomes we could see.
Man, I just remember how it felt, especially, it seems crazy, but second week going into Big Ten play, you just start to look, staring the gun down the barrel about what's happening, and you know that the ACC more than likely is going to get 4 teams in at large, and that only leaves so many at-large opportunities. You know, you look in the Patriot League, you have Army and Loyola, who are 2 teams in top 15 RPI. One of them is potentially going to win the Patriot League, but the other is probably going to get in too. And you start to see these spots get picked off. So, you know, it's really competitive, and things just keep getting more and more tough as time goes on.
You see, there it is. You've been like Charlie Day in that meme, where crunching all the scenarios. Always sunny in Philadelphia. Yeah, well, it's a sunny day here at Panzer Stadium, and now Penn State officially doubling up Ohio State, and they are taking it to one of their rivals. Another one for Matt Costin.
Again, Penn State is just really starting to open the door here. Costin just getting back to his left hand. He doesn't look super confident with his left hand there, I'm going to be honest. But again, that just shows the point in this game. Costin's like, I'm going to get back to the middle of the field, put this on cage in my left hand, hope it goes in, and it did. And that's really great for Penn State's offense to have guys like that showcasing, but tough for Ohio State at this point in the game to be letting that happen.
And you just saw Walland mimicking that sweep. He couldn't get the stick down there in time. I mean, the Buckeye, they need one or two consecutive goals here to get some sort of juice flowing again.
And Kevin, this is a point in the game where you start to really look at your seniors and say who's going to step up, who's been here before, who's battle tested. Let's not let this get out of hand. At the very least, let's make this more competitive.
Can they scoop it up? They would have a new shot clock. Still bouncing. Penn State makes grab this one. No. Knocked away again. Parnham secures it. And the appreciation from the bench and the crowd. Penn State now can perhaps stretch the lead even further as we approach the midway mark of the third. It's a 5-0 scoring run for the Nittany Lions. Trainer is trying to set the pick. Costin back to Trainer. Trainer is starting to muscle, dealing with the check. Hudgens was all over him. A rip. That one's wide. So the sidewinder backed up by Costin.
For someone who's 5'10", 185 pounds, Trainer is really tough in terms of absorbing contact from a guy like Hudgens.
Another! It's 6 in a row for Penn State. Costin's now got a hat trick.
Kevin.
Penn State, Jules, has got all the juice and momentum. Look at this one.
Yet again, just showing their ability to get up the hash, and this game's starting to get a little out of hand as Penn State is up 13-6 over Ohio State.
Love is bigger than ever. The 3-row Subaru Ascent. Dog tested, dog approved. Love, it's what makes Subaru, Subaru.
When the Stanley Cup playoffs begin on ESPN, anything is possible. So the decorations could get a little out of hand, and a city could get a new landmark. Could the freak flag fly? Could the storm surge? Could it happen for the first time? Could it happen again? Yeah, that could happen. That is playoff hockey. Begins April 17th on ESPN. When the Stanley Cup playoffs begin on ESPN, anything is possible. Could the freak flag fly? Could a city get a new landmark? Yeah, that could happen. That is playoff hockey. Begins April 17th on ESPN.
There have been 80 years of drafts.
I'm told the pick is in.
Thousands of names called.
Jerry Rice. Eli Manning. Sauce Gardner.
But there's nothing like hearing yours.
A spectacular moment for this young man.
What's good is Hartford sophomore midfielder Sebastian Bonaiuto, also known as Sebi. In 8th grade, Sebi broke his ankle and thought he'd be back playing sports in no time. After numerous visits to the doctor, the ankle wasn't healing. That following year, Sebi was diagnosed with bone cancer, which eventually led to 8 rounds of chemotherapy, in addition to having the bottom portion of his left leg amputated. 2 years later, he joined his high school's football and lacrosse teams. When his team needed a goalie, they turned to Sebi. As a freshman at Hartford, more field players were needed, and you guessed it, Sebi made the switch. Sebi told me recently He learned through all of the adversity you can accomplish anything when you put your mind to it.
Jules, doesn't get more inspiring, heartwarming than that. Sebi and Hartford undefeated this year. Boy, what an example, an illustration of determination and fight and inspiration that Sebi outlines for everybody. Great stuff from our friend Paul Carcaterra there.
Yeah, absolutely. And you could just see with that smile on his face how inspiring he probably is to everyone that he knows. I know how touching hearing that story is for me. Just really uplifts you, makes you be more grateful at the end of the day, a little bit more present, recognize what you have. Shout out to Sebi.
Look at Penn State, by the way. Another close range look right in front of the cage. That time from Luke Mercer on that second line midfield for the Nittany Lions. Skylar Walland, he has been attacked all afternoon. It's 13 goals now for Penn State. In a game, it's just kind of controlled the tempo and rhythm from the start. Scooping it up. There's a launch. Out of bounds, backed up by the Nittany Lions with 20 seconds to go on the shot clock.
And Kevin, Ohio State's just struggled all day with this Penn State offense in terms of their two slides. They have the number one ready generally, but once things start spinning a little bit, they're in trouble.
14-6, they just keep coming at you. And that's the second straight that goes between the legs of Walland. This time it's Jack Trainer. Whoa.
And Kevin, as I just mentioned, this Penn State defense, backside, they're in trouble. Malone just has his head up again, which we've seen him do all day long, his quarterbacking ability, and Trainer's just setting up. Bobby Van Buren has no idea that Trainer's open. He's just paying attention to his defender, his attackman at X, excuse me. He's got to potentially have his stick in a passing lane to not make it that easy because no slides were drawn. And if I'm Ohio State's defense on this film, that has to get cleaned up right away if they want to really make a run in the Big Ten tournament.
Yeah, that one not necessarily on Wallen per se. Another face-off win. Jules, this is a 7-0 run. Make it 8-zip. Deja vu, it's Trainer.
Yeah, Kevin, it might be time for a goalie switch at this point. I'm not saying this game's over, but just for sake of your goaltender for Wallen, might be time to give him a switch. Watch here. Tremendous job in transition. Off the face-off, just pushing it. Trainer setting up. Slide is drawn, and it's just too easy. Hammer time for him. He's having a great day.
I mean, this has escalated quickly. An 8-0 Penn State run. Mullins doing some fine work in that face-off circle. We've seen Bond, but Mullins, he has really done a fine job in this quarter in particular. So Penn State now +3 there in the category, 13-10 on face-off wins. I mean, we really haven't seen the ball in the Buckeyes' offensive third of the field really at all in this third quarter.
Yeah, they're definitely missing Blanchard right now at the face-off dot because at least what he would do is neutralize it, not let those fast break situations happen that just keep pouring gas on already lit fire.
All right, so they got it back on this end. It's a 5-0 Penn State third quarter and an 8-zip run stretching back to the end of the second. There's a bouncer, went wide. Blake Island was looking for something. And the drought continues for Ohio State. It is now a 16-minute scoring drought.
Kevin, that's just unacceptable there in terms of that offensive possession. Blake Island, a freshman defensive midfielder, going one-on-one and then not having shot back up with the first shot opportunity you've had in so long. We need to see a little bit more maturity out of this group. Attack the short sticks, draw some attention, maybe get it to Myers after some slides have been drawn and let him operate in space without guys all over his hands.
Yeah, he's got Posey on him now. Back to the top. This has been an avalanche of offense for Penn State. Ohio State trying to break the scoring drought. A near giveaway, scooped up by the Nittany Lions. A check, and then Parnham up ahead. Transition. Here we go. This is Aldridge. Back to Aldridge. Give and go. And it's stoned. That time by Walland.
Kevin, I want to give more credit to the Penn State defense, but again, we see Ari Allen there, who hasn't played a ton this season, a freshman, on the first dodge of their offensive possession after what just happened with Island, trying to get a razor screen from Pelkey, which means a screen sort of at that goal line extended area behind the cage, where he doesn't get contact on the screen to free his hands and then just force feeds one inside. Again, they need to just play simple lacrosse. Attack the short sticks, dodge, pass, get it hot. It's a lot of standing around, a lot of just holding the ball.
There's a rip, and finally Ohio State finds the back of the net. They needed that one. Boy, that was a scoring drought of almost 20 minutes. And this time it's Jack Myers, his third multi-goal game of the season.
And Jack Myers just taking things into his own hand. Tremendous right-to-right move right there. Little jab, downhill, get his defender to overcommit, get to his strong hand, topside. Again, very Canadian influence type of player. If you play in the box game, you know that you want to always get topside. A lot of guys utilize that right-to-right move, and he just buried it low and away.
So Jack Myers, no relation to the head coach, Nick Myers. Comes from that lacrosse family, 4 siblings. They all played lacrosse. Penn State, though, in total control, late third quarter. On a very intriguing weekend around the Big Ten. Long range strike. Whoa! Luke Mercer.
That was from deep. Kevin, you hear the
goal
"we
the
are"
season for the junior.
The "we are" calls are going. I love that action by number 20, Ethan Long, getting down the alley and then tossing back to Mercer after that hedge has gone downhill, and he just set his feet and let it go from range. I think that's a little bit more on our guy Wallen than it is a better shot from Mercer.
And we've seen now quite often today, Penn State has beaten Walland low on several of their scores. "16 goals, 13 of which have been assisted. Now, Penn State scored 21 earlier this year, but that was against Lafayette, so this coming against much more significant competition. Again, only one other team in the Big Ten scores more goals than Penn State. Fires and scores. That time, Kyle Borda with his second. He got the scoring started way back in the first. And comes through with his 15th of the season.
And Kevin, this all started with McGee initiating out of the box, kind of drawing the defense, and then the ball swung around, and eventually that action got back to Borda. But again, you need someone, a party starter. A lot of the times, your quickest guy on the team, 43, Dylan McGee, was that guy there, which we just haven't seen all day from Ohio State. I would go back to that, give Dylan McGee the ball with short sticks, and let guys like Kyle Borda set up on the backside with their hands free.
Sweeney trying to slap it away. Ohio State collects it. The fake. Now Myers at X. Ohio State last week with that pretty inspiring win against Rutgers at home on the new stadium, the new turf, the OSU Lacrosse Stadium. A brilliant new facility that just opened up this year. Nice save that time by Frassian. Oh, a check. Buckeyes got it. Myers hits the pipe.
That thing had some gas on it.
Trainer tried to pass it behind his back. 20 seconds to go, third quarter. Penn State doubling up the Buckeyes. One last look. Myers muscling through. Cut off. Turns. Bounces it. He gets knocked down. Penn State collects it. And a whistle with 6 seconds to go in the quarter. Myers was slow to get up. There's the flag in the background. With just 6 seconds in the quarter.
Fouls on white 9, cross check, 1 minute. White 9, cross check, 1 minute.
That's Hudgens.
Jack Posey just absolutely standing up Myers before Brent McVicker kind of comes in there and cross-checks him. But credit to Posey for standing tall and enduring that physical contact by Myers, who's no small guy, sitting at 6'4", 210 pounds.
Yeah, pardon me, that was McVicker, rather. 3 quarters in the books. Penn State doubling up the Buckeyes in search of its first conference win of the season today. Fourth quarter coming up.
Every year, we give our fine Lindt chocolate a very special shape. And when you find the gold bunny, something very special may happen. Something very special may happen.
Surprise! Grandma?
Make Easter moments magical with the gold bunny from Lindt.
Looking for love! Oh my God!
Man, your hair is everywhere.
FX is Dave. Premieres April 5th on FXX. Stream on Hulu.
All smiles in Happy Valley. A 6-2 Penn State quarter. And the Nittany Lions are doubling up the Buckeyes. 13 of those 16 goals, Jules, have been assisted. And the Penn State defense went to work. That they really forced Ohio State into many mistakes. The Buckeyes went nearly 20 minutes of game action, stretching from the second to third quarters without a goal.
And And credit to Penn State's defense. You know, we just saw it there at the end on Posey standing up Myers, but I also think the injuries and the lack of cohesion is playing a part in Ohio State's inability to really build momentum on the offensive end.
Several offensive players have missed, significant time this year. Nick Myers is trying to work in some players as well, like an Ari Allen, for example. Matt Caputo getting more time. It's just worth underscoring. How would you describe just how critical is that? Building that chemistry offensively. You've got a player like Jack Myers. He can do quite a bit, but building that chemistry and cohesion, how long does it take? How vital is it?
It's someone like Jack Myers, who obviously has great size. He can feed the ball, but what we haven't seen from him today is his ability to just attack his matchup one-on-one without really being clogged up. And I think that for him, it requires someone like a Dylan McGee, as I mentioned earlier, just coming out of the box, maybe an Ari Allen, and just causing the defense to slide, getting them to rotate. A lot of what's been happening with Ohio State is everyone's been flat-footed. They're not doing a great job of giving each other space. And I think that's that lack of cohesion we talked about. But on the bright side, right, they have a lot of games left to play. And this experience is going to pay dividends for them when they watch the film and those guys come back and say, hey, we see it. We need to work a little bit better together. We need to give each other the space.
Penn State really patient here. Only 2 seconds to shoot, and they just give it away. So they are content, undoubtedly, to roll that clock to potentially its first win in Big Ten play. Again, it's a sprint. It feels like a marathon. Jules, you've been there. The 5-game slate. The Big Ten Conference forming the Lacrosse Conference in 2015. And so on the heels of yesterday's results, are we going to see 4 teams right there in the middle of the pack with 1-1 records, and then the 2 outliers being Johns Hopkins, who's won twice, and Rutgers with those 2 losses?
Yeah, I think so much can change, right? I think, take Blanchard, for example, who's not playing right now for Ohio State at the Faceoff X. They have young guys, and they have guys who are injured. For all we know, Ohio State by Game 5 could be heating up, getting into the Big Ten tournament by the sliver of their teeth, and then winning it all. And I think that's the beauty of the Big Ten Conference, and what the ACC has been really able to do a tremendous job of in the past few years. It's just everyone's so competitive, you don't know who's going to come out on top.
Well, more on that when we return. Penn State uses its timeout early in the 4th quarter. Up big.
Kids are so expensive, Dad. Now Katie needs braces.
Maybe try switching your car insurance to Progressive. You could save hundreds.
I don't know, Dad.
Maybe try switching your car insurance to Progressive. You could save hundreds.
It's a great idea, TV Dad.
But I said the exact same thing.
Someday when you're a father, you'll understand.
I'm his father.
It's not a competition.
Listen to your TV Dad. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save nearly $700 on average.
Nowhere is out there. Your journey starts in the next generation GMC Canyon AT4X. The most advanced off-road midsize truck. Because the hardest places to get to are the only places worth going. Introducing the next generation GMC Canyon, the official vehicle of nowhere.
I have 2 passions. Knitting and playing the PA lottery. She does all the modeling for my store. What do I get with my winnings? More yarn, of course.
There's a lot of love for the Pennsylvania Lottery, and when you see how fun it is, you'll understand why.
BK Muscle here, everyone say cheese. Classic bacon and spicy. Flame grilled double on the toasted bun with the caramelized onions, now I want one. BK, have it your way.
Johns Hopkins has won back-to-back to start conference play, 2-0. And we see the rest of the conference, how things have shaken out this second weekend of Big Ten play. Penn State looking for its first win has an 8-goal advantage early in the fourth over Ohio State, which upended Rutgers last weekend. So it is the sprint, the marathon has started, Jules. And, we were talking to Nick Myers about this, and he mentioned, hey, it's been done before. There have been 4 Big Ten teams to reach the NCAA tournament. That happened back in 2017. Coincidentally, the same year, Ohio State made that spirited run to the national championship game.
It's
every game is so vital.
And I want to just call out, too, that Penn State's home right now, right? Hopkins was home. Michigan was home. There's a huge advantage in the Big Ten. Excuse me, Michigan on the road. But there's a huge advantage to playing at home in the Big Ten. And then what that really does for you and just your confidence. And you saw that in display here with Penn State. And I know how hard it is to play in that stadium. The players fans, are literally on top of you, and you can hear them in the background.
It's a great model, isn't it, around the conference? Because there are several programs, and now you can add Ohio State to that mold, where the facilities are. They really do create the home field advantage with the fans on top of you. There's a flag right around midfield.
Another man-up opportunity coming for Penn State. Done a great job today. Let's see what it is.
Fouls on red 37. Illegal body check 1 minute. 37 red. Illegal body check 1 minute.
37, Justin Scher with just clipped him from behind there. It's tough trying to make a play, but puts Penn State in another advantageous situation. Man up.
So that's now 5 penalties for Ohio State compared to just 2 for the Nittany Lions. It is just one of those days. Every advantage has seemingly favored Penn State. They've taken 10 more shots. They've turned the ball over fewer times. They've won a couple more face-offs. There's a sidewinder that is stoned that time by Walland.
Probably the first rush shot we've seen in a long time from Penn State. Let's see if Ohio State can build on that and take advantage of it.
Langermeyer cradles and now finds Borda. Hey, what'd you think of that new Ohio State Stadium, by the way? Speaking of home field.
Yeah, being able to have your own facility in the Big Ten just absolutely separates you in terms of recruiting and also just experience for your players and your alumni. I know Coach mentioned he had 100+ alumni back last week and their big win, which, as I mentioned before too, it plays a huge part. Being able to have a facility like that, be at home, you feel comfortable. So credit to Ohio State. They've come a long way as a program. And just joining the Big Ten, being another one of those programs that has their own stadium, it's going to be huge for them.
He said just about everybody from that 2008 team was back that won a game in the tournament that year. Kevin Buchanan was in the house.
Former Boston Cannon great, Kevin Buchanan.
Eight-goal lead for Penn State. Matt Traynor bounced that one too far in front of the cage. And what turned this in the Nittany Lions' favor was the 8-0 run that stretched from the second to third quarters. Ohio State went nearly 20 minutes without a goal. That key word, balance. It's just been a balanced attack. We've seen Winkoff. We've seen the trainers, Malone. Costin has gotten in on the action. Grant Haas, shout out, first goal of the year for the senior defensive midi.
And when you look at Penn State defensively and their approach versus the Buckeyes, if they neutralize Jack Myers, things can get hard for the Buckeyes, where if you look at Penn State, you're not really sure exactly who to neutralize because there's so many threats, and that's what makes them so deadly.
There are some of the numbers that outline the struggles for Ohio State. 3 of 13 since a really flourishing start. But they've been down for just about every moment of this game since the opening minutes. The Buckeyes scored the first goal and have been down since. Yeah, now Jack Frasian is starting to display some of his keeper abilities. Second in the Big Ten in both save percentage, and he actually leads the league in saves per game. Today he's made several, especially in the second half. And Frasian, someone who's only going to just continue to keep growing. He's just a sophomore in his second year. Actually played a bit last season. He beat out Aluric Fayok for the starting job this year.
Starting to get a little sloppy down the stretch here. And with that, another good opportunity, Ohio State. Penn State's last 2 possessions haven't been fantastic, have been turnovers. See if they can capitalize on one of those. Maybe get it to Dylan McGee. I know he just had that strong dodge out of the box to set up that shot. I would like to see him go again with space from up top versus short stick.
Just 2 goals for the Buckeyes after halftime. It's just Colby Smith. He's been held in check today.
Did you see on that one, Kevin, Colby Smith kind of hesitated throwing to Ari Allen? That's what they've been struggling with all game long. They draw attention, they throw it one time, and then they're not sure what to do with the ball after that.
Sheehan got smothered. Penn State on the move. Malone dives at it. And Peyton couldn't collect either. So Ohio State now in transition the other way. There's the long stick that time. Justin Scherer was looking for his second goal of the season. Well, and the hesitation is, that can sink any ship. Another save from Frasian.
And that was Dylan McGee, though, coming out of the box. Where's your short stick? It's actually a good shot. I think that if they were getting that the entire game, this would be a different score. Frasian made the save, and it was the first dodge. But him in space, I think, is really their best option at midfield right now that they have to use more of.
McGee, that is.
Excuse me, McGee.
Yeah. Well, he's coming off a great game against Rutgers last week. Ohio State, by the way, moving forward. Again, it's treacherous almost to look at Ohio State's schedule, isn't it? Because they're in the midst, Jules, of a 5-game stretch against ranked teams, 4 of those conference foes, and the start of this stretch was a game against Denver a couple of weeks ago. When this season, when things are all said and done at the end of the regular season, Ohio State will have played 9 of its 13 opponents. Ranked foes. Nice block in front. Wayland with the save. Wallen, pardon me, and now Ohio State coming back the other way with 5 minutes to go.
And Kevin, to your point, that's what you sign up for when you decide to compete in the Big Ten. And it's been something that the Big Ten's been looking to grow towards for a while, as the ACC's kind of always had that. And it just gives more opportunity to get a big RPI win down the stretch for a team like Ohio State.
Jules, there's so many games left to play. We're only 2 games in. But we showed you all the RPI numbers, the rankings for all of these teams in the Big Ten. I mean, what's a reasonable number, you think, at this point in the season that could make the tournament or at least be in the conversation?
In terms of where you stand in the RPI, I look at, you have the ACC, they're probably getting 4 teams in, right? So that's 4 of the at-large bids. You look at the Big Ten, probably getting 3 at this point. And that leaves 1 spot left for another team, perhaps an Army, perhaps a Loyola, maybe a Georgetown. So if you're in the Big Ten, you kind of got to be in that top 3 slot to get in. And right, Ohio State and Rutgers probably looking at the bottom right now.
Well, and Penn State looking like it deserves to be in that discussion undoubtedly today, which is going to be in 3.5 minutes. A nice bounce back victory after consecutive losses, the most recent on the road at Maryland. And so now as we spin it forward for Penn State, it has Johns Hopkins coming up. Connor Camille, by the way, is a little gimpy getting off the field in some discomfort. That's the junior defensive midi from Rocky River, Ohio. It's been a challenging day for Ohio State, any way you slice it. But to underscore your point, you have no shortage of opportunities, especially with this schedule.
And I think a lot of this is mental, right? And Coach Tambroni touched on it. They had a tough loss to Maryland last week, but it was next game mentality. And they come out and they've doubled up Ohio State thus far. Every team in the Big Ten's got to have that mentality if they want to be able to really make a run this year.
Myers misfires that time. Myers, Borda, and Caputo, by the way, have each with a pair of goals. And then McGee and Pelkey with the others, but Ohio State, it just really could not get the efficient open looks in this second half. There's one that finds the back of the net. Good stuff that time from Borda. And so he has a hat trick. It is Ohio State's first goal since the early minutes of the third, with 2:30 to go in the fourth.
Borda showing that he can get in the mix as well, being a dynamic dodger. Quick split dodge, loads that shot, little jump shot with his left hand. After that bouncy split, watch that right here. Bop, bop. Gets to his left. And that's kind of offensive production they need out of him if this team wants to continue to improve as Big Ten play goes on.
All right, so a new man between the pipes for Penn State. That's Aluric Fayak. The Nittany